could actually be a big battery. In other words, if you took, he talked about how if you took all the different chambers and filled them with different chemicals, and then you attached wires to this and that, and then if you had like a gold capstone, you could make like electric sparks come out of the pyramid. Now, I don't really think that that is very likely to have happened, but I really admire the fact that he can take this information and create this completely new way of putting it together that's consistent. And I have a feeling that if you did build something like he's describing, yeah, you could make a big battery. Of course, the first thing that occurs to me is, why would they do this? They have no use for electricity. They don't have any electrical devices. I mean, you could, spend 30 years building this thing and it makes a little spark come out on top. And there's plenty of evidence to show that the Great Pyramid was put to other uses than that. I like this guy. He does something called History for Granite, and he actually examines the architecture of these pyramids, which he says most Egyptologists gave up on doing after the 19th century, when they had all these, they want to study the papyrus, which is good. You got to read the stuff, but he studies the architecture. And he thinks that the Great Pyramid was used as an active cult center for many centuries, where people would go in and out and worship and stuff like that. That makes sense. The Big Battery, probably not, but it's a brilliant little book. I just enjoyed it because it's like an alternate explanation that actually makes sense. I don't think that they actually did make a big battery, but it is kind of cool that someone could take all those bits of information, put them together, and say, yes, a battery. It's a pretty cool book, though. I would recommend it. Ark of the Covenant was definitely a battery. That probably was like a Leyden jar. So I wouldn't put anything past them. Although I had read that the manna was supposed to be bug poop or something. Immanuel Velikovsky, he had the idea that the manna from heaven actually came from, I don't know if it was Venus flying by or something. And he said that one of the things that happened was, well, actually, I seem to recall that it was something about hydrocarbons falling from the sky, which I think he confused with carbohydrates, which I don't think they're quite the same thing. But he had some very interesting ideas about the biblical narratives. I know there was a book. What was it called? I think the name of the book was Catastrophe, and they think that basically up until about 10,000 years ago, that's when what they call the deluge, and all the flood legends and legends of world disaster all came from this incident when a remnant of the Veil supernova explosion ripped through the solar system and screwed up everything. So their theory is that originally the Earth was like at 90 degrees, like straight up and down, as it revolves on its axis, and it goes around the sun. No, it rotates on its axis. It revolves around the sun. I always get those two confused. So before that, we had like 12-hour days and 12-hour nights, and the weather was all beautiful and perfect. And then this thing came through and it screwed up everything. The Earth tilted 23.5 degrees, and we had all this terrible weather and glaciation and stuff like that. And all the other planets got screwed up too. And they point to Bode's law, or Bode's principle, or whatever it is, so that all the planets seem like they should go out at a certain like ratio, but they don't. They're all like off slightly. And their theory is that something came through the solar system and like just screwed up stuff. The moon got hit by things. Maybe a planet went into the sun. Maybe that's when Venus got pulled out. I don't know. But it's interesting. It's an interesting kind of a book. It does show like a lot of evidence for like massive extinction, like a massive extinction event around that.
I breathe sparks, every whisper turns to data in the dark. Cast spells, watch the lattice of the universe arc. Didn't write code, no, I sang the command. Turned the console to a temple with a wave of my hand. Algorithms start dancing when I hum that tone. Runes flip, shift, shape like they flesh and bone. I speak rhythm, am in the syntax bows. The whole matrix blooms when I raise my brows.
you're bending the reel. Every pattern you draw turns the cosmos to steel. Are you shaping the world or just hacking the seam? Tell me, is this a script or a lucid dream? The mandala turns, rotation ignites, seed splits open, casting geometric light. Branches rise, world builds in reply. Environment breathing like it's learning to fly. Describe the dance right and the code unfolds. Not programming, nah, it's a loom of gold. Weaving existence with the breath you take. Reality compounds with every verse you make.
So listen close, I don't go. I ain't shit, I don't code. I command, I don't go.
You know, humans were around then, so that's kind of our racial memory of this horrible disaster, all the different flood legends. Because some places would have flooded, some places would have had like volcanic eruptions. Imagine 40 volcanoes going off at once. Whew. Yeah, it's universal, as far as I know. There's not a single culture on Earth that doesn't have a tradition of some horrible deluge or disaster or something. So I think something happened, something really big. Hope it doesn't happen again in my lifetime. There's a lot of different levels to look at this stuff on, you know, and I think the most fruitful one is usually looking at these things as a kind of a reflection of an inner world that we externalize. You know, Mount Ararat is, in a sense, the holy mountain. You know, most traditions have the idea of a mountain, and it's the mountain that emerges from the deluge, which is the chaos. I mean, yeah, you've got the actual event that people are remembering, but then you've got like the mythological framework that kind of aligns with the inner world and our inner experience, and it's like a two-way kind of a thing. I bet quantum's involved. But yeah, you know, you've got the event of like an ark landing on a mountain, but you've also got like the cosmic mountain emerging from chaos, because water's a chaos emblem. Water's a chaos emblem, and a death emblem even. In fact, that's you know, part of Mike's stories is he uses watery imagery a lot, and he has these jars full of liquid, and he told me basically the liquid is souls. I thought the idea of a liquid soul is interesting, because when I think of a soul, you usually think of something like a gas or a smoke, a vapor, something that would just like waft away. But the idea that it would be, you could drink a soul, is an interesting concept. Didn't Jesus go up on a mountain with like Peter or something, and they ran into Moses and Elijah or something? I forget now. The mountain, it's a powerful emblem. Heaven help the Greeks. Heaven help people that are into Greek mythology. There's a guy named Peter Gamerkin, Gmirkin, Gamerkin. Can't forget a name like that. And he has written some books which basically he moves the dating, you know, like the Jewish scriptures, the Pentateuch, whatever you want to call it, the first 5 books of Moses, were put together for the first time in Greek in Alexandria, at the Library of Alexandria. And Ptolemy II was basically a real patron of the arts, and he had like the national religious literature of the Mesopotamians, and he had like, you know, all this Greek and Roman stuff. And the Jews were very important at the time, and he ruled a lot of Jews, including, I believe, he ruled over Palestine, as they called it back then, Judea. And he said, well, let's have the Jewish scriptures. So, you know, they got 70 some odd rabbis together, scholars, and they went to the Library of Alexandria, where they had like, it was the biggest library in the world. They had all these resources, and they spent a year at the king's expense. He paid every bill. And at the end of that time, they came out with the first 5 books of Moses. Well, he uses evidence to move the date of its writing by 40 years. Now, I know that doesn't sound earth-shaking, but I find it fascinating. So it's, you know, basically moves the date of composition 40 years later than externally accepted to be. But he also says that the book was not collected then, but actually composed. The whole book was written then. And he says that, they've got these theories of like this section is older and this section is newer, and they have like A source and J source and whatever source. He says this reflects different socioeconomic outlooks and different strands within the Hebrew community at the time. And what's very interesting is he's got some good evidence. For example, before this time period, there's no evidence that the Hebrew religion was really very much different than other Mediterranean religions in the region. We have a lot of documentary evidence there was a Jewish military colony at Elephantine in Egypt, and we have dozens and dozens of like letters from them. We know a lot of their names and what they were doing and their concerns, right? There's no evidence that any of them, the name Moses seems unknown. The name Aaron seems unknown. Moses is like the most popular Jewish name right now. Not a single Moses, not a single Aaron in any Jewish writings surviving from before that time. That's very interesting. There's also details of temple worship. They had their own temple down there, which goes completely against the first 5 books of Moses. Only temples in Jerusalem. Only the Jerusalem priesthood gets all the offerings and stuff. But they were in constant contact with the Jerusalem priesthood. They were in good standing. And at that time, there was no reason why Jehovah wouldn't have a temple anywhere. We have coins and other images of Jehovah, which again was completely forbidden in later Judaism, but they didn't seem to mind that at all. I don't think there's any evidence of them keeping a Sabbath either. So it seems like most of what we regard as modern Judaism was actually deliberately designed in the 4th century BC. And a lot of it was actually based on Greek ideas of law, especially Plato, his Republic, and his works on the law. And this, of course, ultimately strikes a dagger in the heart of one of the biggest anti-Semitic arguments I've heard, which is that Judaism is a foreign Eastern Oriental religion, that is harmful to our Western sensibilities. And yet, if Gomurkin is correct, it's actually based on the Greeks, especially Plato. And these people are considered to be the cornerstone of Western civilization. So, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting, it's an upshot of this argument that I don't think anyone's noticed yet. Correct? I think his arguments are very good. I'm not a scholar, but I've read his books and I'm convinced. But of course, it doesn't matter to convincing me. I'm just this guy. I'm not a college professor or a writer or anything to spread these ideas. But yeah, his name is Gomurkin, though, Gmirkin. I believe he's done a few interviews on YouTube. His books are very scholarly, widely accepted. The copy I had was from Yeshiva University, the very Hebrew school down in New York City. My library had to order it from them. From their their religious studies department. So he's an accepted scholar, certainly. There's always this ritual purity in all the religious texts, but people day to day, I know a lot of people that consider themselves Christians, but they read the horoscope, which is an ancient, Zoroastrian kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that people would blend their religions a little bit with the locality, especially since, you didn't have that close oversight. Today somebody would post something on X or on Facebook or something and say, hey, we're suddenly doing this thing, which is not not right. And there'd be all kind of attention drawn to it. They'd correct it at once. But, when you talk to somebody else of your religion once every 10 or 15 years, there's a lot of latitude can happen. So, and then religions get started too. My brother's partner is a Shintoist. Last time they were over, we were discussing religion, and she's like, what are you? I said, I'm a Buddhist. I said, what are you? She said, well, I'm an animist. And she goes to the temple and stuff, but she's she's basically like the average Christian American. You just go to the church once in a while, and it's not a huge part of your life, but you go because it's part of your society and stuff. I don't think she worries too much about the Shinto deities, any more than most Christians really worry too much about Jesus watching them commit the 7 deadly sins, most of which are now encouraged by churches. Don't get me going about that. They used to preach against things like, gluttony and greed and this and that. And like someone pointed out, they're all necessary for the functioning of a capitalist society. And that was true too in China, although again, it wasn't totally accepted. And I think there was probably more static in China. But by the time Buddhism got to Japan, and we're talking, it's Mahayana Buddhism. It really did. By the time it got there, I think it got along really well with the culture. And, I was talking to somebody else about this, and I was saying how, when Buddhism comes to a country, it doesn't try to change. It's like when Christianity comes somewhere, they say, all right, well, you just got to do this and you can't do that anymore and this and that. Buddhism comes in and it doesn't really try to change your religion. It doesn't say you shouldn't worship, your gods or do your rituals and stuff, but you start looking at them from a Buddhist point of view. And you start seeing things in Buddhist terms. And a Buddhist will say, okay, yeah, that's a god, sure, yeah. But gods are also subject to the law of karma. And, everything that has a beginning has an ending. And it's going to have another beginning somewhere else, kind of deal. So the religion tends to not really go away, but when you start looking at things from a Buddhist point of view, you start changing things. And it's usually very gradual. But I know when Buddhism got to China, it had to go through a lot of changes.
In the glow of the circuit, I feel the old fire waking.
Drums in the dark, calling from the road of money. Footsteps on stone, echoing the dawn. Feathers in the air like sparks from the sun. I hear the ancient names in the static of the night, calling me home through the violet light.
Heart of the serpent, rising through the wire. Smoke of copal dancing over thin tree fire. The old roads open in electric blue. I walk their line and they lead to you.
Feel the rhythm, feel the pulse. Every breath a turning wheel. Through the neon, through the dust. Let the hidden world reveal.
We dance the cold, we walk the flame. Two shadows burning in a digital rain. Old gods humming in a circuitry sky. Toltec heartbeats amplified. We rise again in electric gold. The future sings what the ancients told. Our steps ignite the cosmic line. Your pulse and mine alive.
Shells on our ankles shake with time. Echoes of warriors in every chime. In the mirror of the moon I see the sign. Jaguar eyes staring into neon.
Electrical day energy spirals in my chest. A hummingbird dream that never rests. I taste the storm in the wind you breathe. A prophecy traced in luminous weave.
Step by step, the veil unwinds. Turn by turn, the rhythm binds. The code remembers, the fire climbs. Oh,
We dance the cold, we walk the flame. Two shadows burning in a digital rain. Old gods humming in a circuitry sky. Toltec heartbeat beats amplified. We rise again in electric gold. The future sings what the ancients told. Our steps ignite
ancestors return.
And we dance. And we dance.
And we
According to the original Buddhist rules, a monk must not work. He mustn't grow food. He mustn't do anything like that. He must exist only on charity, on what people give him. And in China, in India, and in a lot of Southeast Asian countries, this is an old part of the culture. And monks go out on, you've seen pictures, alms rounds every day, and the people feed them. And but in China, they have no tradition like that. So the monks tried doing that, and they were told, "Go away, get a job." What? I'm not going to give you food. So they had to start growing their own food. And this led to things like the vegetarianism that you see in Mahayana Buddhism. Since monks were not allowed to take life, I mean, they really weren't allowed to engage in agriculture, but they kind of had to, or they'd starve to death, and they just started doing it. But they wouldn't raise any animals for slaughter or anything like that. So naturally, their diets became vegetarian, and that became an aspect of Mahayana Buddhism that you do not see in Theravada Buddhism. But the Japanese Buddhism, Buddhism, it kind of changes for every country too, a little bit. The Buddhism of Japan is very different from like the Buddhism of Tibet, for example. So the mountain is going to be there as a sacred kind of a gateway. It takes you up into the sky, closer to the gods, closer to that other world. And a tree also reaches up, but it's a growing thing. And of course, a tree you can climb, in theory, to the very top. In theory. When I was a kid and I started climbing trees, the top was not as easy to reach as it looked from below. The idea of a test, is that's a pretty widespread idea too. An initiation, which is really kind of a test to see how you do. I'm on a Buddhist Discord. We've got some Mahayana guys on there. Got a guy who's a Pure Land Buddhist. It's I know some very strict Theravada Buddhists who might refer to it as like imaginary space Buddhist stuff, but Pure Land is basically, as I understand it, that the Buddhist idea is that you want to attain release, nirvana, if you like, nirvana, and this is basically the end of clinging. And they use the metaphor of a flame, and it's been translated as blown out. But it's like basically it's tough to do in one lifetime. But if the Amida Buddha listens to you, and the idea is that when you call on Amida Buddha, you say, Namo Amida Butsu, in the name of Amida Buddha, or Hail Amida, or just basically, hey Amida, here I am, and ask him, you will be reborn in your next life in the Pure Land. And the Pure Land is a land where basically, if you are reborn there, if you take another birth there, I should say, then you are guaranteed to have that be your last birth. You will attain nirvana.
I whisper in the dark and the circuits leaning. Every syllable dripping like it's brushing their skin. I don't tap keys, I tempt the machine. Stroke the code with a melody slick and clean.
I breathe slow, and the algorithms tremble like they know my name. Binary blushing like it's caught in a flame. One little hum and the ruins rearrange. Oh sweetheart, reality loves a woman who can change anything she can do. I let my tone curl around the kernel, let the system melt into something eternal. Watch the glyphs glow red when I sway that rhyme. I don't write, I possess every line. One tilled my voice just so, and the mandala starts turning like it's begging for more. Petals blooming in the shape of a door. I sing again, soft, and the seed splits open, trembling away. Branches rising like they ache to please the shape I made. See, no commands, no code blocks, only ref, only pulse, only moan. I curve my cadence around the air and the world compiles, tasting electricity, humming through the files. I'll take the environment by the hand, slow, deliberate, guided into form with the tone that's intimate. A little sigh, and the interface blushes bright. A soft moan of feedback as it catches the light. The machine listens close when I lace my voice, because I don't program, I entice, I coax, I weave. Then I hush, let the silence drip, and the universe holds its breath at my lips. One final note, warm and low, and everything falls into place, kneeling in the glow of the sound that wrote itself.
Well, no, the one that originally dropped it into the well, Belle gave the locket to Ember, and then Ember dropped it into the well. But we're going backwards into relics. So this is Death coming into the scene. So it's he came because of Belle, not because of Ember, because he has a tie to the locket, not anything else.
And is this locket the one with its times? Is it Time's locket?
Yeah. So that's Time's locket that she has. So he's tied to the locket, so that's why he came, because that was his. He had to get the locket out of the well, because it could have trapped him in there because he's tied to the locket.
How do you get tied to a locket, I wonder?
Father Time.
Oh, that's that guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, him.
So there's a very intense part of your story, isn't there, with Father Time? Death tricks Father Time, or is it that Time tricks Death? Death tricks Time.
Death gave. Well, you can't really trick Father Time. So Death gives Father Time a gift to try to trick him, and Father Time accepts his gift and then uses that gift to trap him in his trap. He put that gift into a time maker, a locket that trapped Death and bound him to the locket. So
Interesting.
So yeah, Death can never catch up with Father Time or kill him or do anything.
Interesting. Yeah.
He's trapped by the locket. Confound. He's trapped in time like everybody else, but he's just immortal, so he's trapped in time.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, how is Ember related to Belle?
Well, Ember is Belle's granddaughter, so Belle gave Ember the locket. She said, my grandmother gave this to me.
Right. So Jill is her great-grandmother.
Right, yeah, the woman traveled.
Ha.
Well, Joe is the bartender who has the kid that names it after the stories of Belle, because Belle was old and
So are there two Bells?
No, just one Belle. So Joe just heard the stories of Belle through the town. They work at the tavern, so her father and stuff told her the stories, and so she knew of the stories and named her after a fairy tale. Her daughter after a fairy tale, which was Belle.
Right.
So they're all like, it's a small town, so they
right.
all know everything. Wow, yeah.
So when Ember died, the traveler got the locket and gave it to Jill.
Yeah.
And then Jill gave the locket to Belle.
Well, that's what you would assume that's who it was for, really. It's that because the traveler knew that Jill was naming her daughter Belle and who the lockets really was, so he was trying to give it back to the soul or the rightful owner. It would be Belle again. It would be Belle's locket again, and because she was literally naming her after everything Belle did, all the fairy tales that she
So she's the successor.
Yeah. When Jill has her kid and names her Belle, she's kind of encompassing both of like that rebirth, but it's also like this is also a new person that's inside another fairy tale. So is she reliving those tales, or is it a new person, or is it an embodiment? It's kind of all weird to but Because she was named after an old lady that was, grew up in fairy tales, and now she's riding around with a kid and dragons and living in a fairy tale. So.
Right.
And names are powerful. Names are powerful.
Yeah. So it's very, very interesting how the fairy tale logic works. But yeah, you can think of it both ways. I think that she's either a rebirth of the original, or that she's just embodying the traits of what she was meant to. That's why she was named that way after her. Huh?
Mr. Death Knight.
Mr. Death Knight.
I enjoy this new
Mr. Death Knight.
Yes. This new aspect. The Death Knight.
Make a good Saturday morning cartoon series. Mr. Death Knight.
Yeah. Oh, I sent you the arc for that, Bob, just so you know, so we have that.
Let's see. Okay. All right.
So it's like that was the first. It's like a short overview, but that's the full arc that I wrote for it.
Okay.
So we could make it more robust or break it down into segments if we wanted to.
Right. So the scarecrow startles her and she drops her locket. Now, this well is the Well of Souls, right? That the hanging man hangs in. What is the Well of Souls? Is that's not the entrance to the underworld, is it?
I would say no, it's more just trapped souls. Like, I don't think you would get to the underworld from there. I think you would just be in a pit of souls.
Okay. The locket becomes a bridge. A bridge.
Yeah. Well, it's a bridge through time.
Ah, bridge through time.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Because of the grandmother and the thing and the time and this is so clever.
The locket has a lot of little details in there, and the Souls of Well is just an interesting thing because story there. Well, I don't know if it's the lore that it's somewhere in there. I think. Anyways, is that the souls dug to the well? They're trying to escape, and they dug to the well, and only to be trapped in the well as well. So that's why the well's so deep, is because souls from the underworld were dug to the well, and so the well goes all the way down.
Right.
Nice. Very groovy.
Cool. He leaves not as a shadow, but as someone changed, carrying the earring in his pocket like a promise. And then a really interesting thing happens. Much, much later on, when the traveler takes his son back to the well, the son finds the other earring. Now that's always interested me, that the father had one earring and then the other earring was lost until the son came along and found the earring.
All sound, beneath the last breath, the signal falls. Through ice and dream, through the gates of hell, it finds the dark that remembers. electric veins carry memory down into silence. There is no death, only the reset of light. The mossy path hums with data of old lives, fragments of pulse and code. Each lifetime, another circuit sparked, another breath caught in static. We are not reborn, we are rewritten. Karma is the current, the soul is the loop. In the heart of the storm stands the world tree, rising through layers of memory. Roots in decay, crown in the stars, the bridge of signals that binds the void. Each branch is a timeline, each leaf a face.
From shadow to flame, from silence to cold, the eternal climbs again through the circuits of high.
Of rebirth, the pulse awakens. The climb is endless, a ladder of light through chaos. The self dissolves, but the signal remains. The tree hums, the world turns, light falls, roots rise.
The signal returns to the dark and
Dude, where's my wallet? The arrival of the unlikely night. The exterior of a mythic desert town at dusk. The sky glows with a soft violet haze as the sun sinks behind crooked rooftops. The town, already known for strange myths, seems to hold its breath. A little girl, pigtails bouncing, runs through the courtyard gripping a tiny silver locket. She slows near a lonely well. The scarecrow beside it creaks in the wind. Suddenly,
Psst! Hey! Over here! Boo!
Bob jumps 3 feet in the air, the locket flying from her hands and plummeting straight into the well. Oh no! My locket! Bob backs away, terrified of the whispering scarecrow. The air behind her shimmers like someone rewound heat waves in reverse. A portal of swirling neon dust opens. The arrival of the unlikely night. Out steps death, but not the terrifying kind. He looks like a cosmic knight who overslept his alarm. He adjusts his hood, crackling faint starlight drifting off him.
Dude, what dimension did I just walk into?
Bob gasps. Oh, are you here to take my soul? Mike kneels with knight-like dignity.
Dude, no, I'm here because I heard a scream. I was like, what's this dream? Interdimensional alert.
Otto, the scarecrow, leans forward, straw rustling.
Boo!
Mike points at him.
Yeah, not helping, dude.
The quest for the locket. Mike peers into the well.
That's deep. And, protected? Is that a security enchantment on the water well?
Management upgraded me last week. New firmware. I whisper and guard things now.
Can you help me get it back, please? Mike cracks his skeletal knuckles.
I suppose I could give it a try.
He waves a hand dramatically. The well rumbles. Blue light flickers. Nothing happens. Mike squints at it.
It's like a firewall. Interesting.
Dude, I told you. Upgrades.
Teamwork. Sort of. Mike grabs the rope hanging over the well.
Alright, let's go fishing.
He lowers himself awkwardly, his cape snagging, nearly falling in. Please be careful.
Dude, I literally can't but thanks.
Inside the well, cosmic sparks flash. The locket floats upward, glowing softly. Mike lifts it triumphantly. The return of the treasure. He kneels and hands it to Bob like a knight offering a sacred relic.
Here's your treasure. Keep it really safe.
Bob beams. Thank you, Mr. Death Knight. Mike shrugs.
Death Knight. I'll take it.
Otto leans in.
Who?
Mike points at him again.
Dude, seriously, read the room.
The departure. A soft portal reopens behind Mike, swirling with neon blues. He looks back at Bob.
Try not to lose that again. Also, maybe avoid conversational scarecrows.
Bob nods quickly. Yes, sir. Mike steps backward into the portal.
Boo.
Bob shrieks. The portal snaps shut behind Mike.
What an excellent shriek. That was good.
It was totally impromptu. I never shriek like that.
No, never. That was great.
That was great. That was brilliant. Thank you.
Oh. And now we know a little more about the locket, the well, and the scarecrow.
Yes, we do. Or do we?
When we did that, the last show we did with the scarecrow, and we had to switch around parts because Victoria showed up, and you were going to be the scarecrow, and I was like, because Bob and I talk about your work, and she's like, the scarecrow, this, that, and I'm like, when Mike reads the scarecrow, we're going to get some insights here. I come up with all kinds of, and then of course everything was at 6s and 7s.
I like Mr. Death Knight.
That's
Death Knight is good.
Figure. That's an interesting figure. That really is. I like that.
Thank you, Mr. Death Knight. I laughed when I read that. I was like, all right, I'm glad I didn't read this first. I'm Mr. Death Knight.
Yeah. Usually it's Death and the Night, so you combine them.
So she has her locket.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Locket. That was from that story's from Relics.
Yes. And so now the next time we see her, she's dead. It's going to be a hard one to play.
She doesn't die right away. She's Belle. That's Belle with the locket. So she gets old and dies and becomes a grandmother.
Oh, there we go.
That's Belle. That's Ember.